Hello everybody. So we're going to try and do a little live Q&A, and I will just check in and be part of what we're doing. So you can send your questions in live. I'll be able to watch those here on the channel. And just for introductions, we've got Magic right here, and we've got Finn right here. And we actually have Hilda, our first Great Dane, and Frederick, our second Great Dane. So all good stuff. Stay here. So let's go. I've got a few questions. Finn, you should stay there, but oh well, you don't have to. I've got some questions that were sent in on the survey that we did earlier. There's actually quite a few. Stay. You just need to relax and stay. They're not used to being on furniture, so you train them well. Stay here. You train them well to do something, and then off they go. All right, so the first question comes in from Marte Stagrum from Norway. And Marte asks, what kind of car do you have? And I have a Chevy Equinox, which you put the seats down, and both dogs can fit in there. And then you use their Kurgo safety harnesses, and they're able to just be attached and safe in the car with you. So as you guys know, I believe in the Kurgo safety harnesses quite a bit, and we'll use those on an ongoing basis. So again, if you have questions, you go ahead and put them down in the comments, and we'll be able to answer those. So we've got Piper and Margaret here, Hillary's here. Glad to see you guys out there. Good boy. So the second question is from a woman and her husband Steve, and they love the videos. They've got a 4-month-old Merle Great Dane Tobias, and he's going through this talking backstage. And the question is, how do you leash walk or train our Danes? So what has worked for me? So what I do with the dogs is I put them on a training collar, and I just walk with them. It's a 6-foot leather leash. I keep them on my left side always, and basically they know that they need to heel is the command, and they stay right at my left side. And I make sure that they, when they go out a little bit too far, I give a correction on the leash and then have them return back to me. So hopefully that's something that would make sense to all of you. The next question is, how do I keep them from biting as puppies? And that may be mission impossible. So this is from someone who's got a dog named Gracie, and she's got little tiny teeth and biting a lot, and so obviously that can be painful. So I think you just need to tell them no, or no bite, every time they do something like that, and that will help keep them from knowing that that's okay. So I think you have to, even as puppies, start with these guys by reinforcing the behaviors you want and discouraging the ones that you don't want. So Mary Sanger writes in that she knows I feed Purina Pro Plan, and I sure do. And then she had some worries that it's the worst food for dogs. And I want to let you know that while a raw diet or some other aspects of dog food can be okay for your dogs, I think a commercially produced high-end diet with low amounts of grain and high quality, which full disclosure, I work for a company that owns Pro Plan, that's Nestle, and I've fed all 5 of my Great Danes that dog food, and so I do recommend it. But I think do your research, do your homework, and do what works for you. But my dogs have really thrived with it. It's too bad they're just laying here beautifully off camera. No one wants to be over here? Magic and Finn, hi, come here. Come by me. Come up here. Up, that's a good boy. Yeah, I never let you on the furniture, and we're going to get to do it here. Lie down. Good boy. Yeah, it's soft and comfy. Very good. All right, next question. Someone noticed that Magic's ears are trimmed while Finn still has these awesome droopy ones, and that's called natural. And so I've told the story a few times, but I'll retell it here again. Magic came to us as a show dog from Oregon. He was bred by Shady Creek Great Danes, Jackie Lawrence. I love her. She's a great breeder. And she was the one who got us Frederick. And Magic was going to a show home. He had his ears cropped, which is a procedure they do very early on before the puppies are even sent out to their forever homes. And he didn't quite work out to be a show dog. Stop it, Finn. He's biting him. So after a few months, they could see that his lips didn't really develop into what we would want for a Great Dane in the show ring. And Finn does have those lips. He's got these giant, beautiful jowls, which gives the great look on the profiling. And you can see that here in his great-great-uncle. This is Frederick, and you look at those lips, and that is an amazing headshot that you're looking for. And Finn, he has his ears natural like all the rest of our Great Danes have had. So Magic's the only guy who's got the cropped ears. Oh, I just saw a great suggestion from Piper, and that is when your little puppy is biting you, you should yelp, and so he knows that it's too much, and I think that's a great tip. So thanks for that one, Piper. Next question is, can I share more information on how I built the dog stalls? And of course, if you've been watching the channel, you know that upstairs I've got a dog room where we have a dog door and we have dog stalls. And I just looked on Pinterest and found some celebrity dog setups, and I had my carpenter, when we redid that room, build it. He built it out of 2x4 and then drywall, and then the inside of those dog stalls are lined with what's called FRP. I think that's fire retardant panels. It's what you'd find inside of like restrooms or what have you, and the dogs really can't chew that. So that's the story on the dog stalls. And then next question is that I mentioned that I would only choose a male dog, and someone was wondering why. And this is from Chad Price. Yeah, the reason that I like male Great Danes is because my first Dane is here, Hilda, and everyone mistook Hilda for some kind of greyhound or what have you. She weighed about 100 pounds and was not really representative of the breed, I guess you would say. She was very slight built, so no one could recognize her as a Great Dane. She was also a brindle. I don't know if you can see that in the picture, but as a brindle, it's not as a familiar dog as the others. So maybe I need to get some treats to get them up here. Hey Heidi,
yeah.
Can you throw me a box of treats or a bag of treats?
Yeah.
All right. So hey, come on. Yeah, that sounds good. Up here, treats. Come on. Great. So let's take a look at what the next question is. The question, what is Finn doing, from Margaret Weir. Finn is biting the back of Magic's leg, which is his favorite thing to do to torment him. So here comes some treats. Maybe we'll get these guys where I need them. Up, up, get up here. Oh, we're gonna be fresh treats. Okay, come on. Get up on the bed. Up, up. Finn. Finn, here. Up, up, good boy. Up. Good. Here you go. Get up there. That's it. Lie down right there. Okay. So we got Finn doing what we want. Lie down. Magic, up. Up. Hey, down. Right there. Okay. It's very much under control here in the new Great Dane studio, as you can see. Let's take a look at another question. So let's go with Anastasia. So Anastasia is asking, how have you discovered Great Danes? Well, it happened in 1992. It was time to get our first dog, and we decided that we wanted a dog, and I thought, well, if I'm going to get a dog, I'm going to get something that's really stands out and is big, and so that was why I decided to get a Great Dane. Up, up, come on, up. No, you stay here, Finn. So we decided to get a Great Dane, and we went to a breeder's house who had like 15 of them. We spent the day with them and realized, yep, these are the dogs for us. And so that's how we landed on Great Danes, and it's been history from there. So this is number 4 in Magic and number 5 in Finn. Okay, next question. Oops, well, here's one over there. Here's one over here. All right, The next question we've got here is someone has a 3-month-old Great Dane, Lynn Roth. Thanks, Lynn, for the question. And over there. And right there. Right here. Magic. So the question is, how do you know when to increase their food intake and by how much? Well, what I do is I really start with a little less, maybe a half a cup 3 times a day, even 4 times a day as puppies. And, you know, they just keep increasing that as they go, because eventually they're going to be gaining like 5 pounds a week. And so to sustain that kind of growth, you want to go ahead and make sure they've got enough food. But you also don't want to overfeed them. So start with a half a cup 3 times a day, see how they're doing, and you'll be able to follow and see. No, Finn, no. Get out of there. All right. Sit. Let's see, hang on 1 second. Finn, sit. Sit. Sit, Magic, sit. Is anyone going to sit? Sit. Sit. Come on, sit. All right. Finn, come. Come. Sit. Matt, sit. Magic can sit. Good, Magic. Finn, sit. God, this stuff smells like bacon. So this is from the Bark Box. It's the Nom Noms. It is beef treats. Sit, Finn, sit. Sit. Good boy. And Magic, good boy. All right, if we're going to get this done, it's going to have to be without Great Danes paying attention. Come over here, Matt, Finn, come. Up. Up. That's it. Lie down right there. That's it. Lie down. That's it. Okay. All right. Next question we've got out there. Let's see if we've got any coming in the comments. Are the baby gates is the question. Are the baby gates all metal? And if so, what brand are they? So the gates you see on my dog stalls are actually from Orvis, and they are all metal, and they're intended to be between doors, like you can put them between doors, but I had them built into the actual 2x4 structure of the dog stalls. And then, as you may have noticed on the last video, I've got a couple different locking mechanisms because that's needed for Finn. He manages to find a way to get out of there. Okay, let's go to the next question. Am I excited to be trying out Finn on the next Bring Your Dog to Work Day? Well, I don't know if it's going to be the next one, but I am excited. I think I need to make sure there's no other dogs there, and I don't have a day filled with meetings, which I had this last Friday. So Magic came to that, and he was excellent. I was able to hold meetings with people and be in a room nearby. Finn, we're going to have to wait till I have an open day. He's a little more mature, and we know there's no other dogs there. That's it. That's a good boy. Good. Okay. Next question from Jasmine Adams. It's more about a 3-month-old Great Dane biting hands, and he listens when he says stop, but the rest of the household is not firm enough with him, and so that's a problem. So I think the same thing. Everyone needs to be consistent with the dog, with the commands, whether it's telling them no bite or if it's telling them that the yelping that was suggested earlier. So I think that's a great idea. Oh, and Elizabeth Van Von Self, you've got the 4-month-olds with troubles, and so I think obviously you're going to have to continue on the biting, but it will come. Remember, these guys are essentially almost puppies till they're 2 years old, and if Finn isn't proof of that, I don't know what is. So that is absolutely something to watch out for. So, what? So the next thing is
Puppies are teething too.
okay. My wife wants to help. Come on, we're live here, honey. So come on and be on camera.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'll just offer suggestions.
All right, thank you. So the question from Billy Gilly: are Great Danes high maintenance dogs as far as vet bill, food, etc.? Are they good around children? They are. I don't think they're any more high maintenance. I think their costs can be a little bit greater when you think about the medicines that they need, or if you need procedures such as a surgery, that everything takes more anesthesia, more drugs, more what have you. So I think that is something to be aware of. I try and share my vet bills with you guys on this channel because that's something that definitely opens your eyes as to what it is. So I tell people they eat about 450 pounds of dog food a year. And if you think about a 34-pound bag of quality dog food is probably $50, you can do the math on that one. Cut out a few of your Starbucks or some other part of your life if this is what's important to you, and I think you'll find that to be very manageable. Good boy. All right, so just decided this would be fun here on a Sunday to put this out there and have some fun with you. So yeah, definitely think Great Danes are awesome. Yeah, Mary, they're not well behaved all the time. I don't use any kind of vitamins or anything else like that with these guys. One of the questions, any supplements or vitamins? No. I don't brush them daily was another question. I don't know that they need it. I bathe them about once a month, and you know, they don't get too stinky. So those are things to think about. When I do bathe them, and that's a question from Rebecca Peters. When I bathe these guys, I take them to Pet People. I've made many videos about it. And we go in there oftentimes 2 at a time, and it takes, you know, just a little bit of time, and I think they charge me $11 per dog, and they're right on the floor, so really easy to deal with. And I'll pass that along. Piper says hi to Heidi. You're not going to see Heidi on camera, I can guarantee you that. So then the next question is, how long did it take for your boys to reach their full size? And that's a great question. Reaching their full size, I guess, is a relative term. I think by about 18 months, their height is probably established, but you still then have to deal with their weight. So at 3 years old, Magic weighed about 140 pounds. And then we got Finn, that's 2 years ago, and that's when Magic started eating Finn's food when we weren't paying attention. And what that meant then was, as you've seen, Magic then went up to 170 pounds. Finn's still sitting at 136. He kind of struggles to put much weight on, but he looks great, and I'd rather have a thin Great Dane than a heavy one. So I think you could say by 2 they've established their size, and then you need to manage their weight. So they could keep gaining weight, and that would be detrimental to their health condition. You don't want extra weight on these guys, I think, is something to be thinking about. Okay, Elizabeth, thanks for the question about cropping the ears. I don't believe in cropping the ears. I admit that the traditional look of a Great Dane really does have that highly stylized cropped ear, but there's nothing more beautiful than a giant natural ear like this. And realize when they crop, they're taking really a third or more, if not 2/3 of the ear off to get it to stand. Then it has to be taped for more than 6 months, and really it's illegal in many parts of the world, and it's starting to go out of favor here, but in the show ring and the show circle, that tradition is still part of the breed. But no, I don't think you need to chop tails off of other types of dogs or crop their ears. I like them just the way they are. But we take Magic at 7 months, and he was awesome. Thank you for the question. All right, the next question I will take around is, are they easy to potty train? Thank you for that. Shepherd Love, were they easy to potty train? You know what, they are easy to potty train, I think. You just need to not give them an opportunity to fail. So Great Danes, like any dog, I leave them in a crate so that it's small, it's the size of where they would need to sleep, and then they typically are not going to go to the bathroom in that small space because that's their bed. When I bring them out, I take them outside immediately, praise them when they go to the bathroom, then bring them inside, play with them for 10 minutes, put them away in the crate. And then you just keep building that up, and you never bring them out without first giving them the chance to go potty. Then you're not giving them the chance to fail. If they would happen to start to pee in the house, and this happened with, you're going to have accidents with all of them, I pick them up midstream and bring them straight outside. I tell them no, bring them outside, and then praise them once they're going again. So I think that is a good way to potty train them, and I don't think it's too hard. I think you just have to be consistent, and the older they are, the better they'll get. So at 8 weeks, it's going to be a challenge. So, you know, spend time outside with the puppy, and be careful on the inside time so it doesn't have a chance to fail. Now, a question here from Margaret, and Margaret Weir, very loyal follower. I appreciate you so much and all of your comments and likes on the videos. Margaret was asking about Hilda, our very first Great Dane, and her full name was Brunhilde, and Hilda was a female that we got in 1992, and she lived to be about 9 years old. She's not related to these dogs at all. She came from Carol Quietek in Detroit, Michigan. And she was someone that the breeder we visited in Ohio had mentored and taught how to breed dogs and show them in the show ring. So again, a breeder referring me to another breeder, not backyard breeders, not opportunistic breeders, people who know what they're doing with this breed, I think is really important. Okay, good question. So the next question is around what is my favorite Dane color and pattern? This was Jessica Woolley. So Jessica, she's got a 16-week-old Harlequin Great Dane. Now I would love a Harlequin. I tried to get a Harlequin at one point, but as you research the breeds, you'll find out, in particular Harlequins, because the difficulty in breeding a show-quality Harlequin, when you do find a properly marked Harlequin, which is white with torn patches of black over the whole body, that dog can go for as much as $5,000 to $7,000. And so while I love having a dog like that, that's not something I was willing to spend to get a Great Dane. The fawn color here is I think maybe my favorite color because to me it represents the breed. Movie recommendation, The Ugly Dachshund. It's a 1960s Disney film about a dachshund puppy that gets mixed up with a Great Dane puppy who gets in with a bunch of dachshunds and then starts to think it's a dachshund. It's a great story, funny story, and I recommend it. It's a lovely Great Dane movie. So the other colors, black and blue, I don't have as much experience with. The mantle or Boston, it sort of came out of the Harlequin colors, I would say, was recognized, probably one of the more recently recognized colors. And then the brindle, of course, brindles and fawns come out of the same litters. And obviously those are the only two colors I've ever had. But I guess I would, if I had to pick one, I would say fawn. And in this case, I like the really clean coat with the black mask that we see on Finn. Okay, hope you're hanging in here with me. We've got a number of people watching. And let me just get to another of these. So a question coming in from, hello buddy, about preventing gastric torsion. And that is really bloat when you think about it in common terms. Bloat is when their stomach fills up with air, and then with their deep cavity chest, they have the ability for that stomach to twist. And when you get that gastric torsion, you now have to surgically correct that because it can't untwist on its own. And yes, I've had that done on 3 Danes, and none of them have had bloat, or they could bloat. They haven't, but they could bloat, but they wouldn't get the gastric torsion. So that is something that I think is very important. You can do that when you're getting them neutered or spayed, and definitely it has a 90% chance of preventing the gastric torsion. And otherwise, a male Great Dane over age 6 has like a 40% chance of actually getting bloat. So Hilda, she bloated at 7 years old. We had the surgery done on her, and she lived another 18 months. It wasn't perfect, but you know, she survived. Frederick, he bloated at about 7 years, and at that point he already had one eye removed, he had bad hips, and we had another puppy, and it was not good, and the surgeries are really only about 50-50, and so I made a very difficult decision to put him down. So you want to avoid bloat and gastric torsion, and I would definitely recommend having that prophylactic gastropexy surgery, and ask your vet about that. They can help you with that. So any more questions, send them on in. And I got one here from Karen Kamoski. Why do you not mix wet food with their dry food? Well, I don't mess with something if it's not broke. If they won't eat the dry food, I have had a history of just putting a nice little can of moist food over it to mix it in and make it a little more interesting. But otherwise, it's just, it's a lot of effort, and I don't know that it's necessary for these guys. So that's my answer. It may not be a great one, but do what works for you, and make sure that they enjoy what you're feeding them, and you've got the weight where you need it to be on these guys. All right, I think we knocked out all these questions here, and so we're just getting down to the last sheet, so keep sending in yours on the comments. Looking forward to it. Someone's asking for us to have a meetup. I live here in Northeast Ohio. I did have some subscribers over here, if you may have seen the other day, and that went great, but I am looking to do a meetup perhaps on the town green in Hudson. And we'll put that out sometime for June, and hopefully anyone in the area can come out and we can have like a dog party. But got to get that organized, and we'll be working on that. The next question is, let's see, soon to be Dane owner, and how many cups of food to feed. So we covered that one. And then someone asked about the Great Danes being dependent on you and really wanting to know what to do when you're going out of town or boarding them. So optimally, we have a law student who lives next door, and he's familiar with the dogs. They're familiar with him, and they come over and he takes care of the dogs. The next would be to board them, and I've had some that board better than others, but these guys board pretty well. And they may not eat as well, they may lose a pound or two. Good for Magic, bad for Finn, but that's another option. But if you can get someone to come into your house, that's good. Let me see if I can get Magic back in the picture. Hey Magic, come here. Come. Magic, you want a treat? Alright, he's just laying down chilling. Can you get right up here? Come on. Sit right here. I guess that's all I'll be able to do is get him right to here. Okay, let me take a look and see what else we have. Any videos or books on training? Well, I think the best thing to do is take your Great Dane when it's like 4 months old to a puppy training class. Really important to get them out and about with other dogs and trained. I think that is always going to be your best bet. So try and do that. And then certainly there's all kinds of resources online relative to training your dogs. So the next question is, how do you deal with the hard-headedness when it comes to discipline? Like when I say no, he'll bark at me and argue with me. And did I have the problem with any of your Danes? Well, I think that's a possible problem with all these guys. And I think it's consistency, using the right commands. So when I give commands to these guys, and I know I break these rules all the time, but basically you give them the name and the command, and then you say it once, and you ensure that they do it. And then you praise that behavior. So, it would be like, Magic, sit. Good boy, good boy. Magic, stay. And so that's how. The wrong way to do it is to keep saying the command over and over again, stay. And so hopefully he will just, when I'm at work and I do that for this guy, it works great. And now if he wants to lay down, I'm not going to stop him because he's good. Okay. I think that's it for the questions. You know, we've been going almost a half hour, so if there's any more, I'll take those. But let me just see. So we've got something here. Someone's saying the breeders, it's Mike. Use all ages dog food for their puppies, which the last breeder said, the vet said to start them on puppy food. I know they shouldn't grow too fast, but I'm torn. That's a great question, and I will tell you that the solution is adult dog food, no puppy food for this breed. It has too much protein, they grow too fast, they'll have troubles with their front joints, and I have to say, you have to balance between the breeder and the vet. The vet's going to give you standard dog advice. Great Dane advice is no puppy food. Really important. So thanks for that one. The next one, Elizabeth asking again, how do you get them a little calmer around other dogs? My pup tends to just keep jumping on other dogs, even when they growl at her. And so, I don't believe in dog parks. I think it'd be appropriate to have planned social visits for the dogs. So no dog parks, because I think sometimes the owners are a bigger problem than the dogs. And what I would say is that you find someone who's got a dog that's good with other dogs and introduce them. And then sometimes it comes down just to personality. Where did that go, Finn? Here. No, stay. Here you go, Finn. Okay, stay. So that's what I think would be important to know about that. Yeah, Margaret, good question on Finn socializing. So Finn is getting there, but I think I need to give more opportunities for him to get out and meet other dogs. So he's a bit of a project. Magic is like perfect, and some of it just comes down to their personality, not how well you train them, but more socialization is better. All right. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Great participation. Obviously, this will be posted up online. Continue to ask me questions. Subscribe to the channel. But I hope you like the setup here. I think it's pretty fun. Maybe the dogs will realize this is a great place to come and hang out, and they get to have treats. So I'm going to end that here. Oh, yes, boys. And so, have a great Dane.